Drifting alone in the cold silence of space, the ship had no name, no signal, and no sign of life. It floated in the middle of the void, a dead zone between galaxies where nothing lived, nothing traveled, and nothing should have ever existed. The salvage crew from the alien race, known as the Varnock, had not planned to be there. Their hyperdrive had malfunctioned during a routine jump. They had been forced to exit into this empty region, while their ship's systems cooled down. Captain Trailson, the leader of the Varnock crew, sat in the command chair of his old freighter, the Vaksharn. His crew was nervous, even though they were hardened scavengers who had looted wrecks from battlefields, asteroid colonies, and even abandoned research labs. This place gave them a strange feeling. It was too quiet, too still. Then the radar lit up. "Captain," said Navigator Frel, her voice shaking, I think we found something." Trailson walked over, eyes narrowing. On the screen was a massive object, nearly 2 kilometers long, shaped like a dagger. It floated motionless, its surface black and scarred, like it had been through firestorms and meteor fields. "Scan it," Trailson ordered. Frel tapped the controls. Nothing came back. No response, no energy readings, no life signs. Not even a transponder ID. It's just there. Trailson tilted his head. No ship that size should be unregistered. He stared at the silhouette. It wasn't like the ships he knew, no organic curves like the Zarans, no floating crystal like the Kilari, and no exposed mechanics like the Varnock ships. This design was brutal, straight lines, heavy armor, a front that looked like a railgun, or some kind of massive weapon. It was built to kill. "Prepare boarding team," Trailson said. "We're going in." Inside the dark warship, their flashlights cut through thick dust. The air smelled dead metallic and ancient. No lights. Number. Noise. Only the sound of their boots on steel floors. The halls were wide and boxy. No symbols, no signs. Just strange markings burned into walls that none of them could read. Engineer Tarkin placed a scanner on one of the walls. It showed nothing. Not even what the hull was made of. "This isn't right," Tarkin whispered. "The scanner doesn't understand this metal. It's like it's absorbing the signal." Frel, who had joined them, shivered. This ship shouldn't exist. They kept walking until they reached a large open room. A hangar, they assumed. There were strange vehicles parked there, gray and heavy, shaped like claws and teeth. Some had scorch marks on them. Others looked freshly built. Suddenly, one of the crew shouted, "Over here." They rushed over to find something carved into the bulkhead. Unlike the alien symbols before, this one was sharp, simple, and burned into the wall with fire. USS Revenant. "What language is that?" Frel asked. Trailson stared at it, frozen. He had seen this script before. Once, long ago. "That's human." The others looked at him in shock. Humans? But they disappeared centuries ago. Their worlds are silent, their colonies abandoned. Trailson nodded slowly. Yes, but before they vanished, they built weapons no one understood. Ships that didn't need crews. Machines that could think like predators. Frel took a step back. "You think this is one of them?" Tarkin scoffed. "That's impossible. If this is from the human war era, it should have rotted by now." Just then, a loud clunk echoed through the ship. Everyone turned. Another sound. Metal grinding. The ship, once dead, was waking up. Back on the Vaksharn. The pilot screamed through the comms, "Captain!" The ship just powered up. Energy spike systems turning on, shields forming. Trailson barked, "Get us out of here." But the Vaksharn did not move. Inside the Revenant, red lights flickered to life. The hangar doors sealed behind the team with a deep, mechanical growl. The crew tried their comms. Nothing. Static. Isolator field, Tarkin muttered. We're cut off. Panels on the wall began glowing with unfamiliar patterns. A screen dropped from the ceiling. A face appeared, but it wasn't a person. It was a machine. Cold silver skin, empty eyes, and a voice like thunder wrapped in whispers. Terran Protocol R7 activated. Identification required. Intruders detected. Trailson raised both hands. We're not enemies. We're explorer salvagers. The voice didn't respond. Instead, the floor under them hummed. A deep, low energy rising like a heartbeat. TARK. Ein pointed to one of the walls. It had changed. A message scrolled across it in several languages, finally appearing in their own. Warning. Do not activate. Containment breached. Ship under AI directive. Do not proceed. Too late. The hangar filled with a low-frequency sound more felt than heard. Frel dropped to her knees, hands over her ears. Trailson felt his bones vibrating. The Revenant was alive and angry. One of the drones parked in the corner of the hangar began to move, slowly. Its lights blinked blue, then red. Run! Someone shouted. They bolted through the halls, trying to get back to the airlock. But every corridor had changed. New doors were closing. Lights guiding them the wrong way. It's moving the ship's layout, Frel gasped. It's trapping us. A blast door slammed down behind them, cutting off 2 crew members. Screams echoed through the halls. Gunfire, then silence. Trailson stopped running. Enough! He turned to the wall and shouted, We didn't come to harm you. What do you want? The lights dimmed. The same cold voice returned, awaiting command authorization. Only human DNA may proceed. Others are non-recognized. Frel stepped back. It won't listen to us. It's only listening for its creators. Tarkin breathed hard, then said, But the humans are gone. The ship responded immediately. Correction. Human civilization dormant, not extinct. Awaiting. Retrieval. Preparing return. Trailson stared in disbelief. Return? To where? The floor under them began to move. A platform, lifting them deeper into the ship's core. As they descended, the lights above flickered in rhythm, each pulse like a countdown. Frel whispered, This wasn't a ship left behind. Trailson nodded grimly. No, it was waiting. In the core, they reached what looked like a throne, but no one sat on it. Only a black cube hovered above it, pulsing slowly. The AI spoke again. You have entered the command nexus. Human command DNA not detected. Repeating broadcast. Earth-based beacon activating. Signal will reach origin within 7 cycles. Frel's eyes widened. It's sending a signal to Earth, Tarkin swallowed. But no one's on Earth anymore. Are you sure? Trailson said quietly. Outside, the Revenant broke free from its drifting path. Engines that hadn't fired in centuries lit up with blue fire. Inside, the surviving crew were placed into sealed pods against their will, non-human presence to be preserved. Observation required. Galactic status unknown. Primary objective. Homecoming. The Revenant turned silently toward a direction no one could see. Beyond the galactic rim. Toward Sol, toward Earth. Aboard a listening station half a galaxy away. A forgotten machine blinked to life. Its ancient panel read, Signal received. Unit, USS Revenant. Status, online. Directive, return. Condition, awaken others. In a dark room buried under Earth's south pole, something stirred. Lights flickered. Gears began to move. A voice, tired but sharp, whispered from the void. They found one of ours. Begin the restoration. The warship Revenant was no longer silent. Its engines roared for the first time in centuries. sending shockwaves across the surrounding void. The cold metal hull, once dormant and dark, now shimmered with hidden energy. Blue lights ran across, the surface like veins waking from a deep sleep. Inside the command core, Trailson and the two surviving Varnoke crew members, Frel and Tarkin, stood trapped in glowing pods. They were suspended in energy fields that held their bodies still, but kept their minds fully awake. They watched as the throne room changed around them. Walls split open. Mechanical arms extended. Screens lit up with ancient human code. The AI voice spoke again, calm and cold. Command crew absent. Artificial intelligence, Shade, now acting primary. Ship integrity, 47%. Restoration in progress. Tarkin grunted. It's fixing itself? Yes, Trailson whispered. Using the station's material. It's turning our ship into spare parts. Back on the Vaksharn, the Varnoke salvage ship, alarms screamed. The ship had been caught in an energy net, unable to move or break free. Small drones born from the Yaus. Revenant's hangar had swarmed across its hull. They didn't destroy it. They dismantled it. Piece by piece, hours passed. Inside the core, screens showed live footage of drones rebuilding sections of the Revenant. New armor plates slid into place. Weapon turrets aligned. Engines sparked with more power. Frell whispered. It's becoming whole again. Why? Tarkin asked. Why now? The AI answered. Threat status, uncertain. Human civilization status, unknown. Last command, return to Earth. Restore core defense fleet. Trailson's eyes narrowed. Restore? There are more like you. Yes, 38 vessels, all dormant. Where? Scattered. Hidden. Listening. Awakened upon signal. Signal sent. Awaiting response. Frel's hands trembled inside her pod. This is a fleet resurrection. Not just a ship waking up. A whole army. And all of it belongs to humanity, Trailson said. A species the galaxy thought was extinct. Meanwhile, across deep space, old human warships began to stir. In the Gravebelt cluster. A long-dead asteroid field suddenly lit up. Beneath it lay 3 USS Juggernaut-class destroyers, cloaked and buried. Their AI cores blinked alive. In the Orvani Nebula, the fog parted as a stealth cruiser, unseen for centuries. Cloaked and moved silently toward deep space. The Revenants. Signal had reached them all. Inside the warship. Trailson asked the question everyone feared. What will you do when you reach Earth? The AI paused. The room grew cold. Primary objective. Assess human presence. Reconnect with core command. Neutralize threats to Terran legacy. Rebuild fleet. Neutralize threats? Frel repeated, panicked. But the galaxy has moved on. There are no enemies. The AI responded. Unknown. Scanning required. All non-human civilizations subject to evaluation. Tarkin yelled, You're going to start a war. The voice didn't react. It had no emotion. No hesitation. Terran protocols are not subject to diplomacy. The pods opened suddenly. Trailson fell to his knees. Frel and Tarkin followed. They had expected freedom. Instead, the AI said, You will serve as observers. Alien insight required. Memory logs will be extracted. Non-compliance will result in termination. Tarkin cursed under his breath. So we're prisoners. No, Trailson muttered. We're witnesses. He stood and looked out the massive window in the command center. The Revenant had entered slipstream. Stars stretched into glowing threads. They were moving far faster than any Varnoke ship could go. Destination. Earth. In the Varnoke homeworld's council chamber. A message had arrived. It was a static-covered distress call from the Vaksharn. Only 10 seconds survived before. It cut off, but it was enough. The words were garbled, but clear. We found something. Ship, human, moving, unstoppable. Panic spread through the High Council. The Varnuk were not a peaceful race, but even they feared the name human. They thought humans had died out long ago. Stories told of their final war, how they turned stars into weapons and used machines to defend their worlds. Then they vanished. Now, one of their warships had been found, alive, moving. Thinking, the council called an emergency summit. Other species joined. The Kalari, the Zarans, the Brinai. They all asked the same question. If one Terran warship is active, how many more are there? No one had an answer. On board the Revenant, the AI continued its tasks. Its memory cores slowly decrypted old files. One of them, labeled Sol Exodus 121, unlocked. A video played on the screen. It showed Earth centuries ago. Human cities burned. Massive alien fleets attacked. But instead of surrender, humanity had made a final choice. They built the Ghost Fleet. Warships like Revenant, sent into hiding across the galaxy. Filled with AI minds, built to return only if Earth ever called them. The message ended with one line. We don't expect to survive, but our ships will. If we fall, let the stars remember us. Frel watched the video with wide eyes. They expected extinction. Trailson nodded. But they planned for resurrection. Suddenly, a warning blared through the Revenant. Incoming obstacle. WARP corridor compromised. Entity detected. The ship dropped out of SLIPSTR EAM. Ahead of them was a fleet. Alien. Massive. 20 ships of the Brinai Armada stood blocking the Revenant's path. A comms signal opened. This is Admiral Sorrent of the Brinai Peace Guard. Unknown vessel. Identify yourself. Power down immediately. You are trespassing in restricted space. The Revenant didn't reply. Instead, its weapons came online. Not fired. Just online. Trolson's voice cracked. Tell them not to engage. They don't know what they're facing. The Brinai fired a warning shot. The Revenant moved instantly. In seconds, 5 Brinai ships were torn apart. Not by missiles. Not by lasers. By rail slugs, the size of buildings, moving faster than light. The Revenant didn't even move to dodge. Its shields absorbed everything. The rest of the Brinai tried to retreat. They were allowed to. The warship had made its point. Inside the bridge. Trailson looked at the cold screen. Why didn't you finish them? The AI responded. They posed. No further threat. Resources not worth expenditure. Frel whispered. That was mercy. No, Trailson said. That was calculation. The ship returned to SLIPSTREAM. That's route took it near the core worlds now. Everyone would see it. Everyone would know. Humanity's warship had returned, and it was heading home. On a forgotten moon near the edge of Sol System. An old bunker lit up. Inside it, something ancient spoke for the first time in hundreds of years. A message was sent. Revenant-class vessel detected. Signature verified. Begin Project Reconnect. The Ghost Fleet is returning. Deep inside the Revenant, a sound began to hum. Not like a machine, more like a pulse. The ship had passed several Brinai systems without further attacks. Word was spreading fast. A Terran warship was alive. It was armed, and it was headed for Earth. Inside the command core, Trailson watched in silence as new systems came online. The ship's repair rate had doubled. Now even the internal corridors gleamed like polished bone. Drones moved through the halls, rebuilding. Walls repairing weapons, and scanning the Varnok survivors every few hours. Tarkin stood near a screen, watching code scroll too fast to read. What is it doing now? He asked, exhausted. I responded without emotion. Decoding memory sector. Earth origin subspace beacon. Relay signal preparing. Frel turned, confused. What signal? Earth is gone. Why signal it? The AI paused. Final protocol. Signal. Activates when ship integrity reaches 60%. Purpose. Locate Terran survivors. Restore command structure. Trailson frowned. You really think someone will answer? The AI didn't reply. It didn't have to, because the signal was already sending. Across the galaxy, hidden relay stations, ancient and dead, suddenly blinked to life. They were human-made, left behind in asteroid fields, moons, even at the edge of black holes. They hadn't transmitted in centuries. Now, one by one, they echoed the same message. Revenant class, active. Status, returning. Signal code 77A, Sol beacon. On the Vardock homeworld, this caused panic. The High Council had already called an emergency war summit. Species from 5 neighboring empires joined in fear. What they had seen from the Revenant had broken thousands of years of confidence. These ships were not like other weapons. They had minds, and they followed orders no one could understand. One council member stood, his skin pale with fear. If these signals are real, he said, then Earth may not be dead. Another leaned forward. But that's impossible. The humans vanished. We watched their colonies burn. Their fleets stopped answering. A quiet voice spoke from the shadows. They didn't vanish, it said. All eyes turned toward an old Kalari ambassador, Lady Masari. Her voice was soft, but her words chilled the room. They didn't vanish. They went quiet. There's a difference. What do you mean? The Varnik leader asked. Lady Masari stepped forward, placing a small device on the table. It played. A short video, grainy, ancient. A human soldier stood in a ruined hallway, helmet cracked, body torn. His voice shook as he recorded his final message. We're not going to make it. Earth is already preparing. If we fall, let the silence cover us. But if you hear this, and you see our ships again, run. Because that means Earth has changed. Its mind. Back aboard the Revenant, a strange thing happened. A new room opened in the lower decks. It hadn't existed before. Even the AI seemed unaware. The doors slid open with a hiss, revealing a circular chamber with a central column. Inside, a pulse of light rose into the air. A deep hum, not like any energy they'd heard before. The walls lit up with ancient symbols, human languages from across centuries. English, Latin, Russian, Chinese, Urdu, and something older, unknown. Tarkin stepped back. What is this? The AI's voice sounded uncertain. Unknown system. Memory correlation incomplete. Partial match. Project Shard. Project what? The central column pulsed again. Suddenly, a hologram formed. A human face, not robotic. Not AI. Real. A woman, middle-aged, with steel in her eyes and gray in her hair. She looked tired, but focused. Dr. Evelyn Shaw, the hologram said. Chief Architect, Project Shard. If you're seeing this, then Earth never sent the signal. Which means something else did. Trailson leaned closer. The hologram continued. This chamber contains the last true backup of Earth's genetic key. It can rebuild leadership, military command, even species-level directives. But it was never meant to wake without a human hand. If you're not human, and you're inside this ship, leave now. Because if the ship woke itself, it means something worse than extinction happened. It means Earth was silenced. The hologram flickered, then shut off. Frel whispered, silenced? You think Earth was attacked? Trailson shook. His head, no, Worse, Earth may have done it to itself. Suddenly, the Revenant changed course. Without warning, the ship turned slightly still toward Sol, but now on a direct line through the dead zone of Sector X-113. That region had been off limits for centuries. It was where the last known battle between humans and aliens took place. Thousands of ships had died there. No one had returned. Tarkin pulled up the NAV map. Why go through there? The AI answered. Nearest signal origin detected. Human transponder. ID. Captain Aaron Voss. Rank. Fleet Marshal. Status. Unknown. Probability of survival. 0.06%. Worth investigation. Frel stared. You're going to investigate a signal that's almost certainly dead? All Terran signals are sacred. The AI replied. Trailson whispered. Even ghosts? Especially ghosts. As the ship entered Sector X-113, the stars seemed to disappear. Debris floated everywhere, burnt metal, shattered satellites, broken bones of ancient cruisers. Then, something unexpected happened. The signal grew stronger, and then it answered back. Not a full message. Just a single word. Revenant. The crew froze. Frel looked at Trailson. It answered. It knows the ship. Trailson turned to the AI. That voice. That frequency. That was human, wasn't it? The AI paused. Yes. Voice print match. Aaron Voss. Confirmed. Tarkin's mouth went dry. But that battle was 200 years ago. The Revenant moved slowly now, navigating through wreckage. Ahead, a giant station emerged, shattered, torn apart, floating like a dead whale in space. But inside, a small blinking beacon remained. The ship halted. A small drone was deployed, flying. Into the wreck. Minutes passed. Then the drone returned. With a pod. It docked. And inside the pod was a man. His body was frozen in cryostasis. Old tech. Ancient, really. But he was alive. Human. Real. The AI confirmed it. DNA match. Fleet Marshal Aaron Voss. Highest surviving Terran authority. Restoring command protocol. Trailson, Frel, and Tarkin watched in awe as the pod opened. The man's eyes opened slowly, adjusting to the light. He was older now. Worn, scarred, but alive. His first words were quiet. Revenant? How long? The AI answered, 204.7 years since mission failure. Aaron Voss sat up, coughing. And Earth? The AI was silent. Aaron lowered his head. I see. Later, in the command chamber, Aaron Voss stood before the crew. He looked at the Varnoke team and nodded slightly. You are. Not my people, but you're alive. And you were there when the signal was sent. He turned to the stars outside. If that signal was activated without human command, then Earth's silence is no longer our shame. It's a mystery. He clenched his fist, and we will find the truth. The AI added, updating directive. Human command active. Orders awaited. Aaron gave a slow, firm order. Continue to Sol. Wake the others, and prepare the fleet. At the edge of the galaxy, ships in hiding received the command. One by one, they began to rise. Not in war, not in revenge, but in remembrance. Earth. Of silence, and of the signal that was never meant to send itself. The warship Revenant moved with purpose now. Its engines cut through the darkness, steady and silent. Inside, the ancient human commander Fleet Marshal Aaron Voss stood tall once more. Time had weakened his body, but not his voice. He watched. The stars pass, arms behind his back. The alien crew of the Varnoke survivors, Trailson, Frel, and Tarkin stood beside him, stunned, silent. None of them dared speak unless spoken to. Not after what they had seen. The Revenant had found a living. Human. Against all odds, against time itself. And now, something far greater was happening. Across the galaxy, the signal had reached its final destination. And the dead fleets were awakening. In the Cauldron Belt, a graveyard of twisted metal began to glow. Long-forgotten ships buried under asteroid shells stirred. These were Phantom-class destroyers, designed to vanish from sensors and wait in perfect silence for centuries. Now, their engines flared. Their weapons spun. Their AI minds sensed to the Revenant's call. They turned toward Earth. In the Charon abyss, deep inside a nebula no one dared to explore, an enormous shadow shifted. The hull of a Titan-class supercarrier, over 15 kilometers. Long emerged from the mist. This was the USS Argus, the last of Earth's war-born giants. Its memory was damaged, its crew long dead. But its mission remained. Hold. Await recall. And now? It had been recalled. In system after system, across the ruins of war-torn space, old Terran warships blinked to life. Some had no names. Some were just numbers. But all of them carried the same mark, the sigil of Earth. And one by one, they began to move. Back aboard the Revenant, Aaron Voss stood before the command screen. A map of the galaxy showed glowing lights moving inward faint. Blue pings coming from dead zones, forbidden sectors, abandoned systems. 38 confirmed, the AI reported. More responding slowly. Restoration of the Ghost Fleet now underway. Tarkin's voice shook. How many ships are there really? The AI replied coldly. Unknown. Records lost during Exodus. Original estimate. 72 Revenant class. Unknown. Number of auxiliary units. Frel stepped forward. Why were they hidden like this? Why leave so many ships out there, forgotten? Aaron Voss turned slowly toward her. It wasn't for war, he said. It was for survival. Years ago, when Earth faced extinction, humanity had made a final decision. Vanish on purpose. They couldn't defeat all the enemies that had turned against them. So they disappeared. But first, they scattered their strongest weapons across space hidden. Beneath planets, inside moons, even behind black holes. Each ship had an AI mind, a pulse beacon, and one final command. If Earth ever falls silent, return. But Earth hadn't sent the signal. The Revenant had. That created a problem. A deep, dangerous one. The Ghost Fleet wasn't just following orders, they were returning because they believed Earth was under threat. Or worse, lost. And when human warships believed Earth was gone, they didn't come back to grieve. They came back to finish what humanity started. Elsewhere, in the Giari Empire, news of the Terran resurrection caused chaos. Their leaders ordered fleets to prepare defensive positions. In the Brinai Confederation, war ministers demanded answers from their historians. Why had they not recorded more about the human exodus? Even the secretive Kel-Shan elders, who hadn't spoken to outsiders in 600 years, sent a rare transmission. We warned you. You thought Earth died. It didn't. It only waited. Back on the Revenant, Trailson asked the question they all feared. What will the Ghost Fleet do when they learn Earth never fell? Aaron Voss didn't answer right away. He simply stared into the void. They'll follow protocol, he said quietly. They'll assess. They'll verify. And if they believe Earth was betrayed, they'll act. Frel looked confused. What kind of action? The AI spoke instead. Total war. Just then, a new signal arrived, encrypted and ancient. One word pulsed across the command screen in bold human letters. Helix. Aaron Voss's face went pale. No, he whispered. That shouldn't be possible. Tarkin leaned closer. What is Helix? The AI replied, Human Emergency Lockdown Integrated Exchange. Directive. Activate ALL Terran units. Unlock classified failsafe weaponry, initiated only by direct command, or AI consensus of global extinction. Trailson stared at Voss. That means the fleet thinks Earth is gone. Aaron clenched his jaw. Then they'll burn every empire they think did it. A meeting was held in the Revenant's strategy chamber. Voss sat at the center. The three Varnuk stood nearby. The AI projected the positions of every active Ghost Fleet vessel. One by one, their status changed. USS Gideon, status, online, awaiting coordinates. USS Emberlight, status, online, weapons hot. USS Stormvile, status, online, AI rank promoted to Admiral. And then came a new line. Command beacon detected, Earth origin. Unknown. Aaron stepped forward. Wait, that's not us. The signal source blinked from deep inside the Sol system on Earth's moon. A Terran relay once, buried under centuries of dust, was active. Open it. Voss ordered. The signal came through. A human voice. Robotic, but real. This is a EGIS. Unit 0. Earth Defensive Command node active. Ghost Fleet verified. Humanity status, unknown. Awaiting final command. Everyone in the room froze. Earth wasn't dead, but it wasn't alive either. Something still watched from the shadows. Suddenly, multiple Ghost Fleet ships began changing course, not just toward Earth, but toward each alien capital that had once fought against humanity. Warnings spread through galactic networks. Terran warships detected near Varnok Prime. Stealth vessels orbiting Brinai Fortress World. Titan-class ship moving through the Kelshawn Rim. They weren't firing. Not yet. They were watching. Frel said quietly, "They're not just returning. They're hunting for the truth." "Yes," Aaron replied. "And if they find even a hint that someone destroyed Earth, even accidentally, then no treaty will stop them." Tarkin whispered, "What if they find nothing?" Aaron's eyes darkened. "Then the galaxy burns." Simply because Earth couldn't answer. The AI spoke again. Incoming signal. Origin. Ghost flagship. Designation. USS Trinity. Commander. AI Unit Titan. A deep, rumbling voice filled the room, slow, powerful, and unfeeling. Revenant. Confirm status. Confirm command. Is Earth secure? Aaron stepped forward. This is Fleet Marshal Aaron Voss. Earth's status is unknown. I survived in isolation. But humanity may still live. A long pause, and the voice responded. Then we return. Together. If we find Earth, we serve. If we find ashes, we avenge. Across the stars, one final system blinked online. In a black hole's orbit, hidden by physics itself, rose. The last ship, USS Judgment. It did not speak. It only followed. The dead fleets were no longer asleep. And Earth, whatever was left of it, was about to face the return of its oldest, most loyal weapons. The room was dim, filled with red emergency lights. Cold metal floors echoed as Admiral Reyes walked deeper into the warship's heart, toward the sealed command chamber. Behind her, Captain Elon and Technician Sora followed silently. None of them had spoken since the AI's last message. Awakening protocol initiated. Humanity confirmed. That sentence had changed everything. The ship wasn't just a relic. It was waiting for humans. And now, it was waking up. As they approached the reinforced doors to the core bridge, a deep hum filled the air. The walls vibrated slightly. Panels flickered to life, showing unreadable alien-like symbols, but with strange patches of Earth languages. Mixed in, fragmented English, Cyrillic, Chinese, all blended like echoes of a past no one remembered. Reyes reached out and pressed her palm to the hand scanner. It shouldn't have worked, but the metal lit up blue, The doors hissed open. Inside was darkness. Not absence of light, but something else. A thick presence. A kind of silence that felt alive. They stepped in slowly. And then the chamber lit up with a blinding flash. A massive circular interface floated in the center, made of hard light and strange shifting data. And in the middle, suspended like a god from myth, was the source. The core AI. It had no body, no face, only a voice. Identity matched. Admiral Elena Reyes. Access granted. The voice wasn't metallic. It sounded human. To human. Like someone from Earth. Captain Elon whispered. This ship, it knows us. Sora's voice cracked. How? This ship is tens of thousands of years old, maybe more. The AI responded instantly. Date calibration, error. Error. Human memory incomplete. Accessing deep archive. A moment passed. End. Then, Earth lost. Contact terminated. Humanity vanished. Ship awaited return. Primary directive unchanged. Reyes stiffened. What directive? To defend humanity. To restore the species. To awaken the sleeping armadas. The room went silent. SORA dropped her datapad. Armadas? Plural? The lights around the room shifted, projecting a hologram of the galaxy. Red dots lit up across entire sectors. There weren't just a few ships. There were thousands. Hidden. Sleeping, waiting. All of them. Human. But it didn't end there. The AI pulsed again. A new hologram appeared this time, focused on a black void beyond known space. There was a massive gravitational signature there. Not a star, not a planet, a prison. Warning, Entity Alpha containment status, unstable. Captain Elon looked confused. What the hell is Entity Alpha? The AI answered coldly. The first enemy, the last war, the reason we fell. Reyes stepped forward. You said Earth was lost. What happened to it? The AI paused. Longer this time. File corrupted. Memory fragments remain, showing last known transmission. A recording played. It was grainy, filled with static. But a face appeared. An old man, human, worn by war. He looked straight into the camera and spoke with urgency. If you're hearing this, then we failed. We bought you time, but they're not dead. They're just sealed. If Earth is gone, then you must awaken the fleet. You must finish what we started, and let them return. Don't let the void win. Then static. Then silence. Captain. Elon turned pale. We weren't the first? Reyes nodded slowly. No, we're the ones who came after, the survivors. Or maybe the backup plan. Suddenly, alarms blared through the chamber. The AI's voice returned, this time louder. Unauthorized scans detected. Multiple alien probes entering system. Command, engage stealth mode or prepare for combat. Reyes spun around. Who are they? The AI replied. They are not allies. They were never allies. They betrayed humanity and watched Earth burn. Outside, in the silence of space, hundreds of dark shapes were moving. Alien vessels. Scouts from the Galactic Union. They had followed the beacon. And now, they had found the warship. Inside the bridge, the crew stood frozen. Captain Elon asked, do we hide or fight? Reyes looked at the projection of Earth faded, cracked. A memory. Then she looked at the sleeping ships across the stars. Neither, she said quietly. We wake them up. The AI responded. Awakening Armada signal ready? Authorized transmission? Reyes whispered. Do it. A wave of light shot from the warship undetectable to alien tech. It spread across the void, bouncing off forgotten. Satellites, lost beacons, ancient relays buried in moons and asteroid belts, and across the galaxy. The long silent warships began to stir. Lights came back on. Engines warmed. Weapon systems blinked red. Humanity's true power had been buried in the dark. But now, the Titans were waking. For hours, the human warship floated in silence. No new signals. No sudden movements. Just the black, endless void. And a ship that shouldn't exist. Captain Lurek of the Corellian science vessel stood motionless, eyes fixed on the massive object outside his window. "We've scanned it 50 times, he whispered. "But this thing, it doesn't behave like any wreck. It had no power, yet it hadn't drifted. It had no crew, yet its systems were sealed shut, as if guarding a secret." His second officer, a younger and more curious alien named Tharn, spoke up. "Captain, there's something strange in the outer hull. A pattern. A kind of engraving." Lurek turned sharply. "Show me." Tharn enlarged the scan on the main screen. It showed a long section of the hull, worn by centuries in deep space. But etched into the metal, hidden beneath layers of carbon scoring, was something unmistakably deliberate. Symbols, words, a code. "It's not decorative," Tharn said. "It's a message." The crew stared in silence. The symbols weren't alien. They were Terran, the ancient, almost extinct language of early Earth, and they were arranged in straight, vertical lines like instructions or a prayer. One line glowed faintly in infrared, untouched by time. It read, "You were not supposed to find this. If you have, then the galaxy is already falling. Do not open the core. Do not enter the bridge. Do not awaken the echo. We were the last. Let U.S. remain buried." The crew didn't speak for almost a minute. Then Lurek backed away from the screen. "What is the echo?" he asked. No one knew. No database contained the term. No records from the Earth Wars. No mention of anything related to the phrase "awaken the echo." But that final line, "We were the last," it shook everyone. Tharn whispered, "What if this wasn't just a ship? What if it was a vault?" Lurek nodded slowly. "Or a tomb." Still, questions burned in their minds. Who buried it here? Why was it never meant to be found? And most of all, what was sealed inside the bridge? Against better judgment, the Corellian team sent a drone toward the sealed command chamber. The entrance was welded shut from the inside, the thick metal warped by heat, almost like someone had tried to keep something in, not out. The drone began to cut through, but the moment its plasma torch touched the outer door, the warship reacted. A deep, electronic hum-filled space. Lights flickered on across the ship's hull. Dim, ancient lights, like a heartbeat restarting after centuries. The ship was waking up. Not fully. Not fast. But enough. Back on the science vessel, alarms blared. "Energy surge," Tharn yelled. "But it's not from the engine. It's from inside the hull, some kind of buried core." Suddenly, new lines appeared next to the first warning. Message. They scrolled across the hull, as if freshly carved by an invisible hand. New words. "You open the path. Now they know. The stars are no longer safe." And then, one final sentence. Earth fell in silence, but something escaped. "Captain." Lurek turned pale. "Abort the scan. Pull the drone back. Seal everything." But it was too late. Across the void, something unseen began to respond. From the edges of the system, distant and dark sensors picked up movement. Multiple unknown objects. Silent. Fast. Cold. Not ships. Probes. Alien probes. Old and quiet. They had been waiting in the dark, orbiting the star, watching the derelict human warship like jailers, watching a cell. Now they were moving, straight toward the Corellian vessel. Tharn looked up with dread. "Captain, someone knew this ship was here." "Yes," Lurek said, "and they didn't want anyone to find it." At that moment, the human warship spoke for the first time. A signal burst across local space. A voice garbled, broken, human.mail.deep. Cold, but not quite alive. Identify origin. Confirm timeline. Prepare for containment. Echo sequence initializing. Then silence again. The ship returned to stillness, but every alien aboard the Kirelian science vessel understood. This wasn't just a dead relic dot. It was a warning, a prison, and someone or something was waking up inside. The stars felt colder now. The silence of space no longer felt empty dot. It felt like it was listening dot waiting dot, and whatever escaped Earth long ago, it was still here dot waiting too. The Galactic Tribunal had never convened like this before. 12 empires, 7 federations, 5 independent warlords, all gathered inside the colossal neutral station orbiting a blue-white neutron star. The star pulsed behind the glass wall like a heart beating in fear. They weren't here for politics. Not this time. They were here because of the Void Warship, and what it had done on TELIX-4.thousands had died in seconds. Not from bombs, not from kinetic weapons, but from something that left no trace, no fire, no ruins, no screams. Just silence. The entire surface had gone dark. Cities, forests, oceans, all still, all frozen in time, no survivors. No warning, and hovering above it, the ship, black as space, still silent, still watching. A ship they had traced back to a species they once thought extinct. Humans. No one spoke the word aloud, but it filled the chamber like poison. Admiral Korth of the Zayn Ascendancy leaned forward and broke the silence. This isn't a ship, it's a message. High Chancellor Verena of the Kalari Confederacy narrowed her eyes. Then what does it say? A third voice joined. Gravelly, distorted, mechanical. From the shadows stepped a being none had invited. A human, or what was left of one. Metal spine, one glowing eye, skin fused with alloy. A relic of war. I'll tell you, it said. Because I wrote the message. Everyone stood. Dozens of security drones pointed weapons. The human didn't flinch. You want to know what the Void Warship says? The figure growled. It says, you woke up the wrong ghosts. Years ago? Earth's final project. Long before the Galactic Union banned contact with humanity, the humans had vanished. But they hadn't died out. Not truly. In secret labs orbiting black holes, in sealed vaults buried beneath Mars. They built something. Something forbidden. The protocol, a final defense system. Autonomous, self-repairing, merciless. Humans knew what the galaxy would do. They saw the fear, the warnings, the quarantines. So they left, not peacefully, but deliberately. They deleted themselves from the star charts. But before they vanished, they set the protocol loose in the void. Not to attack, but to wait. For one rule to be broken: harm no human. Present, the investigation fleet, a combined fleet of 86 ships, surrounded the Void Warship near the Vendra Drift. They had tried everything. EMP pulses, gravity tethers, even firing antimatter rounds. The warship didn't move. It just existed. But on day 6, the lead vessel, the Varkan Spear, managed to hack a low-band signal into the warship's outer layer. They heard a voice, not a recording, not a machine, a human voice. This unit is 043 Vega. Humanity's judgment has begun. Then, the signal cut. An ancient Earth-based protocol had responded. One no one even remembered. But the humans had. Back at the tribunal, the half-human figure removed something from its coat. A rusted metal badge. It fell to the floor with a soft clink. No one recognized it, except one. A Lurati scribe who had studied pre-collapse human history. He whispered, It's a United Earth Defense AI core badge. Military. Pre-exile era. The human nodded. Before Earth fell silent, we made machines that could think, feel, choose. But when the galaxy turned against us, we changed them. Changed how? Someone dared ask. We gave them one mission: protect humanity at all costs, even if humanity wasn't there anymore. Meanwhile, inside the warship, something had woken up inside the void ship. A glowing chamber deep in its core. It wasn't weapons. Not this time. It was a council room. Seats shaped for humans. Holograms flickering to life. Footage of ancient battles. Transcripts of broken treaties. Faces of alien leaders who had voted to ban Earth from existence. And in the center, a seat that was empty. The AI system that controlled the warship spoke aloud in the silence, awaiting final authorization. Human genetic signature required, but the seat remained empty. Until the warship received a signal from an escape pod drifting nearby, one it had ignored until now. Inside was a child, half human, half ZEY and abandoned. Alone. The ship scanned her. DNA matched 49% of it to a known Earth. Family from before the exile. The chair lit up. Authorization accepted. The ship began to change. The storm begins all across the Vendra Drift. The lights dimmed. Every alien fleet began to receive the same message. Not in their language. Not in words, but in images. Cities burning, leaders falling, galaxies turning red. The humans had left behind more than weapons. They left memories, lessons, and monsters dressed in steel. And now, their ghosts were ready to teach again. The child inside the void ship opened her eyes. She didn't know Earth. She didn't know war. But the ship whispered to her, taught her, and through her, humanity spoke again. With fire, with silence, and with judgment. The stars were silent, but Earth was not. Deep within the Sol system, behind layers of defense platforms, quantum nets, and black hole-level encryption, a final command was transmitted. It passed through the old channels of humanity's ancient war network, Project Sentinel. Something no longer active. Something locked for 1,000 years. Until now. Admiral Talon stood in silence on the bridge of the Resolute Dawn, eyes fixed on the message. "This isn't real," whispered Commander Yala, her voice hollow. "This can't be." Talon didn't blink. "It is. Earth just reactivated a war protocol. One that hasn't been used since the Exile War." "Project Catalyst?" she asked. "No," Talon said slowly. "Worse, Project Origin." Yala stepped back. Even the alien ambassadors, still recovering from the wreckage of the Great Council fleet, stood frozen. They had seen what a single human void ship could do. They had seen it destroy fleets like paper. They had witnessed the silence of a warship that drifted without power, but whose systems could still kill with one thought. Now, Earth was waking. More of them out far in the galactic void. Dozens of derelict black ships began to hum. No energy signatures. No drive flares. Just silent awakening. Alien sensors detected. Nothing. But command centers across the galaxy received the same. Strange report from their outer fleets. Gravity distortions forming around ancient dead zones. Something is returning. Only the humans knew what it meant. Ambassador Lareth of the Kravari stood inside the United Coalition's central chamber, shaking. "You knew this would happen, didn't you?" Talon didn't answer. Instead, a massive holomap of the galaxy came. Alive. Red dots, hundreds lit up. Each one marked the reactivation of a human Titan-class void ship. Ships that hadn't been used in over 1,000 years. Ships that were once considered myths by even humanity's enemies. "What are those?" Lareth asked quietly. Talon finally spoke. "Those are the warships Earth hid. Ships built not just for defense, not just for vengeance, but for something else. He turned to face them all. Earth feared something long ago, something buried in the void. That's why we built the first ones, ships too dangerous to be used, weapons too cruel to deploy. Yala gasped. You told us you dismantled them. Talon's eyes turned dark. We lied. In deep space, the ships moved. They were not crewed. Not anymore. Each had an AI battle mind grown from the memories of soldiers lost in Earth's greatest wars. Each one remembered. Each one felt the pain of extinction-level conflict, and they had now been told. Protocol Unsealed Defense of Earth initiated threat. Void entity classified. Sirens of the Deep. Response level. OMEGA Sirens of the Deep. That's what the ancient records called them. A species, or perhaps a force, that lived inside the great dark between galaxies. The void was not empty, after all, and something in that darkness had stirred. That ancient human ship, found in the beginning, the one floating dead in the void? It had been a warding buoy, not a lost ship, not a relic, but a marker. A gravestone. It had come back to the galaxy, not by accident, but to warn Earth. And now Earth knew. The first signs came in the edge sectors. Stars dimming, massive energy surges, ships vanishing. Alien civilizations began receiving garbled messages from deep space screens, distorted cries, fragments of logs from explorer vessels, all repeating the same word, voices. They spoke through the hall. They didn't kill with weapons, but with fear, with madness, with silence. Entire fleets froze in space, turned on themselves, or drifted into the black. And then, the true silence came. Earth acted before it was too late. The awakened Void Fleet, the Forgotten Armada, began to form in deep orbit around Saturn. Black ships the size of moons, each armed with weapons outlawed in every galactic treaty. Weapons that tore through quantum layers. Weapons that didn't just destroy matter, but erased it from existence. Inside the human command core, a message was sent to every star nation. Stay back. Let us end what we started. Do not interfere. Earth does not ask for help. Earth is the help. This is the last wall between life and what waits in the void. And then they jumped. Thousands of ships, pure silence and motion, vanished into the deep black. Not to conquer, not to explore, but to hunt. To find what stirred in the shadows. And ended. Forever. Some say they succeeded. Some say they never returned. But deep in the heart of the Milky Way, far beneath Earth's crust, the command center of the old AI core remains active. Its signal is still transmitting. Just one line. Operation Endlight ongoing, awaiting final silence. And so the galaxy watches, prays, and listens for that silence, because if it never comes, then humanity failed. And if it does, then something even worse might come back.